Eliza Morales and her family were just months away from welcoming a new child, their second after their 2-year-old daughter. Now this family is left crippled with heartbreak, not knowing what these two lives could have become.
You know, a simple online sale, a quick trip to run an errand, these are the little everyday things that make up our lives. But for one family, a totally routine exchange right at their front door would end up shattering everything. This is the story of the marketplace murder of Eliza Morales. This quote, it just gets right to the heart of this case, doesn't it? It's all about that one horrifying moment when something completely normal just fractures. And life can never, ever be the same. So let's go back to the beginning. Our story starts on January 26th, 2026, and by all accounts, it was a completely, totally ordinary evening. I mean, picture this. It's a snapshot of pretty much any young family. You've got Eliza Morales just having a quiet night at home in Downers Grove, Illinois. Meanwhile, her husband, Jabril, he's out running a few errands with their 18-month-old daughter. Just a simple, quiet moment in their life together. And to really understand the scale of this loss, you have to know who Eliza was. She was 30 years old, and she built this life that was all about caring for people. She actually worked at a children's hospital, looking after other people's kids. She was a deeply devoted mom, and this is just heartbreaking. She was 5 months pregnant with their second child. Her whole life was about nurturing and protecting others. So why did she open her door to a stranger that night? Well, the reason was something millions of us do every single day without a second thought. A simple transaction. The whole reason for this visit was just to tie up a few loose ends from a Facebook marketplace sale. They'd sold an old pickup truck to a 19-year-old. He was literally just stopping by to handle one final detail, swapping out the license plates. That's it. A totally routine, mundane task. And here's the thing. This entire interaction was caught on surveillance video. And when you watch it, it's completely unremarkable.
You get angry, and then you get sad, and then you get angry again, and it's such a roller coaster.
Tonight's candlelight vigil taking place after court documents revealed disturbing details about Eliza Morales' death that took place Monday at her Downers Grove home.
It was a horrific, violent crime committed. She fought for her life.
The suspect, 19-year-old Netas Ravukas, now faces first-degree murder charges for the death of Eliza and her unborn child.
She's a sweetheart, and she didn't deserve this. And it's just too painful. And it's just, honestly, you just don't ever expect this to happen.
Court documents say this incident stemmed from a vehicle the suspect intended to buy from Eliza's husband. The 19-year-old telling detectives he was, quote, upset about the condition of the pickup truck and decided to take out his frustration on Eliza and got into a fight with her. During the fight, Ravukas told detectives Eliza mentioned she was pregnant. Court documents stated Eliza was stabbed 70 times. Investigators say after the stabbing, the suspect allegedly started a fire inside the home.
Pure evil. None of us get it. She did not deserve this. No one deserves anything like this.
While the suspect's motive is still not clear to Eliza's family, what has been clear is the impact her loss will have on this family, including her surviving 2-year-old daughter.
We're just going to raise her daughter the way she was.
Ravukas shows up, looks totally calm. Eliza gives him a screwdriver for the plates. He goes out to the truck, and then a few minutes later, he comes back. And her final act, inviting him inside, it just looks like a simple, polite gesture to finish things up. This is probably the most chilling part of that footage. It became infamous not for what it showed, but for what it didn't show. There's no argument, no visible threat, absolutely nothing to suggest the unbelievable horror that was about to happen right behind that closed door. The cameras caught the moments leading up to the attack, but everything that happened after that door closed, well, that had to be pieced together by investigators. According to prosecutors, what happened inside that apartment was a sudden, brutal, and sustained assault. The evidence showed that Eliza fought for her life and for the life of her unborn baby. She even told her attacker that she was pregnant, but the violence, it was just unrelenting.
It is a horrific act of violence, and it's not something that we typically see in DuPage County. An unconscionable level of violence that we have observed in this case. The defendant gave the victim the license plates. The victim gave the defendant a screwdriver. He went out to the truck and came back to the victim and entered the victim's residence.
The sheer brutality of it all was laid bare in the coroner's report. It documented approximately 70 stab wounds. That number alone tells you everything you need to know about the violence she endured. This next piece of forensic evidence is just devastating. Soot in airway. It's a very clinical term, right? But what it means is that after the stabbing, as her attacker allegedly set a fire to destroy the evidence, Eliza was still alive. She was still breathing. And maybe the most tragic detail of all, when firefighters finally got there, they found Eliza right near the door. She was so close to escape. So close to safety. The crime itself was just shocking, but the investigation that followed started to reveal a possible motive in a very calculated attempt to cover the whole thing up. So, when he was arrested, Revakis claimed he was angry about the truck's condition. But investigators quickly found that his story just didn't line up with the evidence. I mean, his calm demeanor on that surveillance video just minutes before the attack completely contradicted his claim of being in a rage. And according to authorities, this wasn't some spontaneous act. The steps taken afterwards suggest a clear attempt to conceal the crime. Starting a fire, getting rid of the weapon, breaking Eliza's phone. These are the actions of someone desperately trying to erase what they've done. The case then took another really bizarre and disturbing turn while Revakis was in custody. He ended up being hospitalized with critical self-inflicted injuries. It just adds another unsettling layer to this whole story that we may never fully understand. And through all of this, you have to remember the unimaginable human cost. Jabril Morales came back from that simple errand with his little girl to find flashing lights and fire trucks. In that short amount of time he was gone, his wife, his unborn child, his entire family had been stolen from him. You know, amidst all the horrifying details of this crime, it is so important that we remember the person at the very center of this story. Her community, her loved ones, they all chose to remember her not as a victim in a headline, but for who she really was. A smiling woman, a loving mother, a dedicated healthcare professional. They've really focused on the beautiful life she lived, not the brutal way it was taken away. Ultimately, this whole story just leaves you with this deeply unsettling question. It forces us to think about how quickly the mundane, the everyday, can just shatter into a million pieces. How a simple transaction can spiral into a profound and permanent loss. And that's a question that really has no easy answer.
Began our first interview, which was not very fruitful, other than telling us that he was there. And then later on, during the second interview, obviously he made statements that implicated him in the crime.
The state has charged the defendant with 3 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of intentional homicide of an unborn child, armed robbery, aggravated arson, and aggravated cruelty to animals.
And this really gets to the core of what makes this story so haunting. It's a tragedy that was born from an assumption of safety that, let's be honest, we all make every single day. We hope, we believe that danger will be obvious, that it will announce itself before it strikes, but it so rarely does. And that leaves us with this really difficult question. All of these platforms that connect us for convenience, for commerce, they're all built on this foundation of implicit trust. But the murder of Eliza Morales is just a brutal reminder of how incredibly fragile that trust is. It forces us to ask, how can we possibly navigate a world where the most devastating moments can begin as the most ordinary ones?